Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started in just a few minutes with our checkerboard chat today, making the world our campus with the UT Global Engagement Office. So we will get started right around 12 noon. Until then, enjoy some music and get ready to get this webinar started here in just a few minutes.
When I was a boy, I didn't know nothing. I didn't have a care in the world. I had innocence and ignorance of things I wish I still did not know. But no matter how far these songs take me, if my dreams come true or the heartaches break me, no matter where I make my bed, I long for you. Tennessee, Tennessee, I was born here and raised here. I'll make my grave here its home. Tennessee.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jordan Pruitt. I serve as the Assistant Director for Special Events and Programs with the UT Office of Alumni Affairs. We're so excited today to be welcomed by Dr. Neisler and Dr. Ray, who are going to be talking to us about making the world our campus with the UT Global Engagement Office. So thank you both so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and move forward to talk about some of our ground rules. First, you'll notice that your mic has been muted. This will be the case for the duration of our webinar to avoid any disruption for our presenters. We will have a question and answer feature at the end of our webinar today, but we would like you to submit questions throughout the duration of the presentation. So at any time today during the presentation, if you'll use the Q&A feature, you can enter questions and we will get to those at the end of the webinar today. Now I'd like to take a moment to introduce our panelists. We'll start with Dr. Neisler here. Dr. Neisler is a three-time graduate of Michigan State University, and she joined the volunteer family after serving as the director of the Center for Global Connections in Food, Agriculture, and Natural Resources in the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources at her alma mater. As Vice Provost, she oversees the Center for Global Engagement, a unit that leads, coordinates, and supports the university's strategies for global education, research, and engagement. So Dr. Neisler, thank you so much for your time today. We're excited to have you here. We're also going to introduce Dr. Rachel Ray. She joined the Center for Global Engagement in September of 2019. As the communications director, her responsibilities include strategic planning and execution of communication strategies to build a global brand for UT and providing services to the Center for Global Engagement units for their communication needs. Her work at OAE focuses on building and maintaining partnerships in Asia and promoting cultural diversity, increasing students and faculty's mobility, and improving community outreach. Dr. Ray obtained both her master's and PhD degrees in communication and information from the University of Tennessee. So welcome, Dr. Ray. Thank you so much for being here. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Neisler as she's going to get started with the presentation today, and we'll be back on here at the end to answer some questions for you all. Dr. Neisler, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Jordan, very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And thanks to everyone who's joining and spending your lunch hour with us. And we're really excited to share some of the work that we've been doing in the Center for Global Engagement. And we hope that this sparks a lively discussion for us at the end of this slide presentation. On a hallowed hill in Tennessee, like a beacon shining bright, we are proud of the leading role we play in the states and America's international engagement. Nearly every great civilization of the world, almost without exception, has had institutions whose role is to preserve the knowledge and culture of those civilizations, to transmit, add to it, and those are known as universities. They are among the most ancient of human institutions, with the first of them of which we have records founded over 25 centuries ago. Universities have been truly international institutions, open to the world and attracting the very best and the most able from every country. The pages of histories of all great universities of the past are the record of this. with names from every part of the then known world. And so the same is true today of the acclaimed American research universities like the University of Tennessee. We are living in a deeply challenging time when strident voices would shut us off from the rest of the world, just at a time when the need to understand it, engage with it, is at its most acute and urgent. A pandemic, wars, both trade and real, natural disasters, and the very collapse of civilizations and cultures can be the outcomes of devastating miscalculations based on international ignorance and xenophobic stereotypes. American universities must play a central role in combating this. The University of Tennessee is committing to join the world in combating these challenges and empower our young leaders to transcend boundaries and have a positive impact on our livelihoods. Today, Dr. Ray and I will discuss UT's global engagement and provide some details of new and exciting endeavors. We are thrilled that you have joined us. These first slides will help for us to frame the significance of global engagement at our universities and in our states. We would like to begin by providing an overview of the participation of international students on our campus. These slides will frame this from a national perspective to begin with, and we'll show you the data, both specific to our institution, but also to some peer institutions as well, so you get a better sense of the context of where the University of Tennessee falls in our work. International students and scholars are an important component of the inclusive health of our organizations. They bring vibrancy, diversity, and interculturalism to the student and staff experience. How an institution thinks about itself, the work it engages in, and the connection it has to its land-grant ideals are made more robust with the presence of international students. In the 2018-19 academic year, the number of enrolled international students at American colleges and universities decreased at all academic levels: undergraduate, graduate, non-degree, and professional. This is according to new data from the Open Doors report released by the Institute of International Education. Meanwhile, the report indicated that the number of international students in the United States participating in optional practical training, or OPT, as we sometimes refer to it, a program that allows students to gain valuable hands-on training in a professional setting for up to 3 years post-graduation, increased 9.6%. NAFSA, a leading national organization focused on international education, their latest analysis finds that international students studying at U.S. colleges and universities contributed to $41 billion and supported 458,290 jobs to the U.S. economy during the 2018-2019 academic year. For every 7 international students, 3 U.S. jobs are created and supported by spending occurring in the higher education, accommodation, dining, retail, transportation, telecommunication, and health insurance sectors. In the state of Tennessee, the international students contributed $348.3 million and supported 4,358 jobs in the 2018-2019 academic year. International students at the University of Tennessee contributed $51.7 million to our local economy and supported 690 jobs during this current framework of 2018-2019. The chart shows the comparison with some of our peer institutions. These data are also from 2018 and 2019, also from the Open Doors report, and it will show you a glimpse of what the enrollment breakdown looks like at different institutions. You'll see by the different colors the breakdown between graduate students and undergraduate students. Additionally, the percentage of international students is also another benchmark that is important in determining the overall global health of an organization. Here you can see extreme differences between different institutions in the percentage of international students studying on their campuses. Another important metric of institutional global health is the amount of outbound mobility of its students. But numbers alone are a small part of this story. It must be driven by high impact programs, academically rigorous programs that are transformational to the participants, both personally and professionally. Quantity cannot replace quality. The number of students studying abroad has grown steadily on a national basis over the last 25 years. A total of 341,751 students studied abroad for credit in 2017-2018, representing a 2.7% increase from the previous academic year. This is also according to the Open Doors report. In looking at our peer institutions, we acknowledge room for growth, and we will discuss this idea in more detail in a moment. But you can see where the numbers differ and where emphasis may be placed. What's an important factor and differentiation to understand is the type of programs that students enroll in. Of course, this really is dependent on the type of discipline that they are studying, what their majors are, and what their curriculum will allow. Faculty-led study abroad program remains the most popular program across the institutions. UT faculty-directed programs allows students to study abroad under the guidance and supervision of a faculty member with a group of other UT students. These are generally short-term programs that run during mini-term, summer, and spring break. The program type is inconsequential when students face challenges in the fees associated with study abroad programs. But thanks to our alumni, our UT community, and friends like you, we were able to support over 1,000 students abroad this year. Comparing with 30,000 students, 24,000 undergraduate students, we need to do more. The rate of internationalization is growing rapidly with unhindered communication and inexpensive travel. Universities across the world are already seeking to make the most of its possibilities. This presents by forming global partnerships, fostering relationships with other institutions. UT's Global Research Office was launched in the August of 2019 as a unit under the Center for Global Engagement. The office works with faculty to support their international research initiatives and partnerships. It also runs the Global Catalyst Research Grants, supporting partnership and development and aids in proposal development support, and helps identify funding opportunities for international research. The office works closely with UT's Office of Research and Engagement. This map depicts the larger the pin drop, the more activity we have in different regions of the world. So the map is here to illustrate where it is that we are currently working. And we'll discuss in a moment our ideas about expanding the global footprint of the university. The laboriousness of forming university partnerships means that only those identified as being able to endure in a long term should really be pursued. I mean, who wants a drawer full of agreements that mean nothing to anybody at either organization? Developing successful relationships takes a long time, from understanding the culture and goals of each other's institutions to ensuring compatibility in terms of ethics and standards. Can take a lot of effort to form a strong connection. Again, quality is more important than quantity, but the graph shows that UT has room for growth and needs to expand its global footprint. We are not realizing the full potential of the world-class research that is being conducted by our faculty. I will highlight a vision for growing the number of our partnerships in a moment. 1 in 5 of the world's scientific papers are co-authored internationally. As a result of the expansion of communication methods and the ease of international travel, academics and researchers are finding it easier than ever to collaborate with their foreign counterparts, making the exchange of academic ideas much simpler to organize. The ability to scrutinize, debate, and share experience is essential for academic and scientific accomplishment. Constructively challenging accepted opinions and ideas is central to their development, and international collaborations help to facilitate this. This graph will show you numerically the number of papers that our faculty have been able to co-author with international scientists. It is a comparative to other institutions in our aspirational and peer groupings. Another component of the work that we're doing, and an important and critical piece of what we offer to prospective students and scholars, is our English Language Institute. It is often considered a pathway for international students into the university. It offers language and culture training for students and community partners. All institutions projected a sharp decrease in the number of students enrolled in their intensive English programs, and the University of Tennessee has been no different. The UT English Language Institute brings significant value added to many of our global engagement goals. Primarily, ELI connects UT to our local communities, providing an academic opportunity for community members to increase their language capacity and become more productive citizens. As I mentioned in my opening slide, the world is becoming increasingly challenging, but it's also becoming increasingly interconnected. Improvements in technology and trade have pushed the boundaries of the term citizenship. Although the concept of global citizenship is not new, dating back to ancient Greece, the concept has new currency. It is becoming increasingly necessary for students to prepare to contribute positively in their local, national, and global communities. Why is being a global citizen important in today's world? Since 1950, world trade in goods has expanded by more than 30-fold. The opportunities to work internationally are increasing as companies are expanding and building internationally recognized brands. By working abroad, graduates have more opportunities to take on new roles, advance their careers, build global networks, and develop a global mindset. And having an understanding of international practices can give students a leg up in expanding a global community. Overall, students in today's world will think about global problems more than previous generations, because communication on a global scale is easier and more accessible than ever. Students are able to have more diverse experiences and are better educated on global issues. Instilling a global mindset in today's students can help create a generation of graduates that value social responsibility and consider their global impact when solving problems. We've spent the last 18 months as a collective group across campus, facilitated by the staff in the Center for Global Education, Global Engagement, thinking about our vision and thinking about what is the need of our campus to think about its global engagement differently. This is the general framework of the vision that is now being looked at across our campus. This was a process that I'm very proud of. We spent some time really thinking about who needed to be involved, and this is the result of that work. In a moment, I'll share a few more details about what we were looking to create. But this slide really shows you what was most important on our campus, what the faculty and the staff and the leadership really believed was an essential part of who we are as a global institution, focused on culture and a culture that's here on our campus that is inclusive and welcoming. Secondly, we really wanted to be able to contribute positively to student success, being able to offer students a way to transcend their national and cultural boundaries. We need to be able to support faculty in their research and scientific endeavors, both from a scholarly perspective, but also in the partnerships that they create. And finally, thinking about the cultivation of our relationships with our international alumni and key stakeholders of the university all rose to the top of our lists in terms of what is important to our campus community. We did set out with a process. We needed to take a look at where we were sitting and contextualize what things look like for us as an institution on a national basis. So we looked at what were appropriate metrics to be looking at. What are the other schools paying attention to? How do we really capitalize on our strengths? And really thinking about how do we show up and tell a story? Tell a story that we all know already exists. But because perhaps of our land grant culture, we really aren't so good at telling that story. What else should we be doing in terms of prioritizing our strategic investments? And how do we really support, incentivize, and empower multidisciplinary research, both among our faculty, staff, and our students? Specifically in our goals, I would like to now break down a little bit at what we're looking at and some of the tactics that we hope to be able to accomplish to make these goals a reality. So let's take goal number one, student success. Educating students to transcend national and cultural boundaries. In my slide about our study abroad programming, you'll remember that what I said was that it's not always important to have quantity over quality. And if this pandemic has taught us nothing else, it's really about how do you adapt and become relevant to the students that you're serving. We've had to take a look at what we're doing in our programs and the academic offerings to our students. One thing we realized is it's probably unreasonable to think that we'll get all 30,000 volunteers moving outside of the country and participating in programs abroad. However, it is our responsibility to make sure that we're providing global opportunities for all of our students. And that's exactly what we're setting out to do with the Global Lead program. Learning, engaging, acting, and discovering. We will integrate with our new curriculum when it's released, and we will be working closely with the faculty to think about how we create new and innovative programs and opportunities for our students to have a global experience without ever leaving Rocky Top. Global citizenship is a shift in the way students see the world and their place in it. It's not a class to complete, but rather a lifelong process. It's learning to stand in the shoes of others and see problems from different perspectives. Cultural empathy isn't a skill developed overnight and requires that students understand how their own perspectives and identities impact their personal worldview. One of the most effective and immersive ways to help a student become a global citizen is by exposing them to peers and teachers from other countries. In goal two, we really wanted to take a deep dive into the support mechanisms and the infrastructure that we were building and what it is that we value in terms of our scholarship. And what are we encouraging our faculty to create and how are we encouraging them to approach their work? And really, at the end of the day, if you're going to say that you're a world-class institution, you need to be in the world and you need to be working in it. So some examples of some tactics that we're going to explore as we move forward on this vision is how do we enhance the partnerships that our faculty, staff, and students are building, and what are they doing with those collaborations? We would really like to see an increase in scholarly collaborations that are funded from external funding agencies and private foundations, stronger connections with corporations as well, and really building a connection into the state government, working with them on their priorities and thinking through with them what they have in mind for foreign collaboration. And lastly, let's look at goal 3, the cultivation of relationships with our international alumni and key stakeholders. Now, in a moment, Rachel's going to share some innovative programming that we've been working on over the course of the last year that really has enabled us to better connect with our alumni. It's been exciting and it's been fun to meet people in many different places in the world and realize that you hold this connection of this place, of Rocky Top, together. We will be looking at creating alumni chapters globally where alumni can come together and share common experiences, but also to begin to support the current students that we have on campus. And at a much more tactical level, part of doing that means that we have to create some infrastructure. So in this case, a database where our alumni can join us and let us know what they've been up to and how we can currently connect with them. We currently have 7,720 alumni living overseas in 146 countries. So we've got some work to do and some ground to cover. And I'm telling you what, when the travel restrictions are lifted, I'm the first one on the plane. A little bit about our center and what we're up to. You've probably been able to discern already the major thrust of our work in the Center for Global Engagement. We consider ourselves the hub for global education, research, and engagement activities at the University of Tennessee. And the icons below show you the offices that are housed within our center. We provide top-notch support to all international students and scholars arriving on our campus. We provide a way for them to transition into campus life, and they have consistent and comprehensive programming through the International House. Oftentimes when I meet international alumni, the very first question they ask me is the International House still there? Is it still functioning? Because it provided such just a wonderful experience for them, and it was truly their second home. I'd like now to bring Rachel into our discussion and allow her to share with you some of the innovation that we've been working on, starting with the launching of her Office of Asia Engagement. This was an experiment for us in the office to think about how do we provide support, provide a focus, and consider how we bring collaboration and engagement to a new level with a regional focus. Rachel?
Thank you, Gretchen. And good afternoon, everyone. First, I'm happy to report that Gretchen mentions that we have been working on the global vision for the past year, but it doesn't mean that our work towards innovation and reaching those goals hasn't already begun. So here I'm going to share with you many of the work that we have already done involving so many of our campus partners, community partners, industry partners, and then everyone. I recognize a lot of names that on this call that thank you for attending today. And thank you for bringing all these programs together with us to campus. Like Gretchen mentioned, my Office of Asia Engagement itself is an innovation. So our office was built to maintain, to build, and strengthen the partnerships. And specifically, the area of Asia was chosen because of the existing partnerships and the potential for growth. And like Gretchen mentioned, quality is more important than quantity. So forming strong and deep partnership takes time and consistency in communication, visitation, and facilitation of the program once it's established. And in fact, this time, I'm currently in China. I've been back since the mid-November, finished my two weeks of quarantine and to travel around in China safely and socially distanced from other people to start building these connections and start to make sure that we have this regional focus and take advantage of the resource that we have and putting together a great and strong portfolio that we can bring back the programs to campus and help our faculty, students, and staff to grow in that area. So what you can see right here was a picture of the COVID-19 educational session that we hosted with our community partners. So we partner with our health departments, UT Medical Center, our own history department, and many others, and bring them together to have this discussion very early on in February last year to bring more knowledge and education to the campus and the local community about what's happening with COVID-19 to make sure that we can debunk the myths and make sure that we can bring the real information, real knowledge to the campus. Next one, thank you. And the next slide you're seeing is a great global celebration of the 225th year anniversary of the University of Tennessee, Knoxville in Shanghai, China. And it was in January 12th last year, and we were all safe and we made it back. But we also happy to report that we had almost 60 international alumni and university partners joined us. And they came from as far as Vietnam, and some of them even took like 8 hours of train traveling from the very northern part of China to visit us in Shanghai and joined us. And we also have a short video to show how welcoming and how excited everyone was to see us being there and to see that we actually started to have a more alumni building networking opportunity for them. So Gretchen is going to show a short video about it. Thank you, Gretchen. On the video, you may recognize that a lot of them attended. They are partners. For example, we have a TRICOM program running in that College of Business, Hassan College of Business, and we actually had the partners who are from the Tongji University in Shanghai who came to us, and they were very excited to meet our students and alumni as well. So it's events like that making a great impact and deepening our relationship with the alumni. And in fact, after that, we received so many different feedback. And this time around, when I visit China, I even had 3 college visits that were set up by our alumni. We made a connection through that event, and they help us to start to build more connections in China. So I think, to Gretchen's point, building an alumni network, it could not only benefit our partnership building, but at the same time for help with international students recruitment as well. And many of them reached out to say that if any of the students who are interested in attending UT just need that a little bit extra nudge or extra push, they'll be more than happy to connect with them and share their experience with the students. So now what you're seeing is the Global Research Office and Office of Research and Engagement. They have a collaboration called a Virtual Sparks. And many of you, if you're faculty, you might be familiar with the Sparks program, which is an open forum for the faculty members to get together and discuss innovative ideas and the research collaboration ideas. But the difference for this virtual Sparks is actually focused on international research during COVID-19. And this session will include a presentation by Dr. Rebecca Kaiser, the head of National Science Foundation's Office of International Science Engineering. And then she will be discussing and answering a lot of questions, such as whether or not to pursue international opportunities at this turbulent times and how to best maintain existing international relationships. So if you want many of these questions to be answered, please do attend the February the 12th session. And also, it's also featuring many of our great faculty members who are already internationally engaged and from UTIA, from any other units and departments. So please join us. Next one. At the Center for Global Engagement, we are also seeking opportunity to help our students to achieve their career goals. And one of the things we wanted to utilize and one of the resources we already have is a department, is our Center for Career Development and Academic Exploration. So last year during the International Education Week, which is a national international education week, where the state government will host a lot of different programs and UT traditionally will have some supplemental programs offered on campus as well. And this year, one innovative initiative we had was the International Career Day. The initial concept was brought up by Gretchen, and what she wanted and envisioned was having the international corporations around Tennessee, state of Tennessee, and around the world to come to campus and meet our students and offer this opportunities for our students to interact with recruiters from those corporations. And this time, because of the pandemic, it actually brought us more opportunities. We were able to invite entrepreneurs, invite corporate partners from all over the world to join us at this session, International Career Day, and share with our students these important aspects when they are doing career searching. And also at this uncertain time during COVID-19, what is it important to stay globally engaged and to help them to secure future career in these national corporations, international corporations. Next one. Another initiative we had as a collaboration with the Division of Enrollment Management is we rolled out a program called Academy for Global Scholars, which is administered by our English Language Institute and two wonderful coordinators. And this Academy for Global Scholars program is really intended to open up the doors and help a lot of underrepresented students, such as first generation students, to have this global experience they would otherwise would not have. So for the first cohort last year, we actually had 22 first year students join the inaugural cohort of AGS. The program was quite successful. Although it was challenging, the students were new, they were first year, and the programs, it was first time that we brought a lot of programs virtually, and we're trying to stay as engaged as possible. We open up many social media channels for them to communicate with each other, to create a culture, a cohort culture, for them to be more involved and engaged so they can stay connected together. So becoming Academy for Global Scholars, they will be offered additional courses in terms of global engagement, and also they will be offered opportunity to visit, to have a study abroad experience the second semester. And hopefully the spring semester will bring this group of students to Costa Rica, and we'll keep fingers crossed. And last semester, this group of students also had the opportunity to attend the Society for International Development annual conference. And now I want to show two very short videos of the feedback from the students.
In the future, I plan on teaching English as a second language. So I plan on working with different cultures every single day, like helping them learn English and like integrate into our culture. But I think being a part of AGS has made me want to like celebrate every culture that will come into my classroom and like understand them and communicate with them. Thank you for your contribution, because without it, I would not be having the college experience I'm having today.
And we have a second video.
I see AGS learn new skills like communication and networking so that I can give back to my community. Thank you to all the donors. I really appreciate everything that they do for us, and I wouldn't have
And the Academy for Global Scholars connected with a lot of our alumni and the friends of the university. So during this Big Orange Give, two of our alumni also reached out to us and offered additional help to keep the program running. So we're quite excited that to have a second cohort to join us very soon. And the slide you're seeing right now is the end hunger fee change. So Gretchen talked about the grand challenges nowadays that we are facing and how convenient it is now for the students and for every one of us to learn about these grand challenges because of the technology and the communication methods nowadays. So one of the things that we took notice was the hunger issue. It's on the rise ever since the beginning of the, and then it's, so to feed a projected world population of 9.7 billion by 2050, that was the number that was really startling. And also hunger is not only a grand challenge for the world, it's also very pervasive in our community. So a recent study actually revealed that in the UT system, 33.8% of the students were food insecure, which means 1 in 3 students self-reported that they are food insecure. And when I read that number, it was really blow my mind knowing that our students attending school are hungry. But there are many resources and things that UT are already doing and making strides to end hunger, especially on our campus, and address this issue in the local community. So now you're seeing the End Hunger Fee Change Initiative was launched last year, and it was organized by the Center for Global Engagement, also received support from a group of staff, faculty, and the students. The mission is to increase the coordination of the efforts to alleviate the food insecurity on the local and the global level. And as you can see, that the initiative really breaks down the core areas into 4 different areas. To educate is to raise awareness, to outreach, improve the nutritional status of the campus and the local community through the health education, and the policy, as well as the fundraising. So thank you everyone, all the community members, more than 20 of our campus members actually joined these efforts and coordinated many of these initiatives with us. And we have a short video to share.
I think we'll skip it, Rachel. It doesn't seem to be playing.
Okay, sounds good. And you can find that video if you're interested on endhunger.utk.edu. And it also has a list of all the resources that are available. We also have a couple more new initiatives, one of which is the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG, also led by our Global Research Office. And as faculty members, many of you may have received the email from the provost last semester to ask you to identify the courses and how it's linked towards one of the 17 SDG goals. So the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is one of the things where we can measure where our global impact is. And when we were submitting the information to this ranking system, we also realized that UT is already offering a lot of courses in all these different areas. We're just not recording that. So one of the systems we came up with last year was to batch those courses. So you will continue to receive the email from us and asking you to tell us which sustainable goals that your course is related to. So that way we can batch the course and also offer the students a way to search the courses by the departments or by the SDG goals. And one of the things we're also thinking about is to, at the end of the, during the graduation ceremony, maybe the students can receive some kind of tassel or some kind of a symbol to showcase that their participation in the Sustainable Development Goals. And that's also a way to reach our 100% global engagement among our student population. Next one. Peace Corps is one of the longest running program in the United States and also on campus to help people to reach out to the global community in a way that is impactful and also meaningful. So UT has the Peace Corps Prep program, which connect with the Peace Corps recruiters. And what we do is offering classes, and it's led by Dr. Adam Wilcox from UTIA. And every year he's been telling me that he has so many students that he has never had trouble recruiting. So I think we do have very eager students that we are ready to serve, that are ready to serve the world community. And you can see some of the statistics since October 2018. And these are long-running programs that are going to every corner of the world to make a sustainable impact. Next one. And as Gretchen mentioned, that when we were making the Center for Global Engagement's visioning plan, strategic plan, the university is undergoing the similar thing. It's a strategic visioning process. And the chancellor put together a committee, and one of the drafts that she released on her chancellor website is the UT Strategic Vision draft working documents. One of the goals says, connect with every Tennessean and with communities around the world, inspiring future volunteers to join our diverse community. In it, one of the things that she specifically brought up is to implement the CGE University Visioning Plan and achieve the international recruitment goals. So as we can see that the university is really committed in making an impact in the global engagement field. So I think the CGE's goal is really to work with all the community members and everyone here on this call, and those who are looking at the recording, and also those who are out there to help to make this happen. So Gretchen, back to you.
Thanks very much, Rachel. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you bringing to life all of the hard work of the center and other units across our campus and our engagement with our faculty. It has been a tremendous joy to work with everyone, and we are so looking forward to the future and new initiatives and new endeavors with our campus community, our alumni, and organizations and partnerships that we've yet to find. I believe we have a few minutes for some questions if we have sparked any curiosities from anyone in the group.
We definitely have. First and foremost, thank you so much to both of you for giving some of your time today and really sharing a lot of information that I think is so crucial to the success of our university and the future of our university. So thank you both so much for giving some of your time and expertise today. We do have a couple questions submitted, and if you have any others, please feel free to shoot those into the Q&A, and we will be happy to answer those for you in the remaining time that we have. The first question, and this is to either of you, looking around the globe, is there a specific area or location other institutions are targeting to recruit students to come to their institution that we need to enhance at the University of Tennessee?
So this is a great question, and thank you to the participant who has raised this for us. Clearly, the focus of most U.S. institutions over the last 10 to 15 years has been recruitment of international students coming from Asia, particularly China. And while we still see that as a vibrant opportunity, and in fact, Rachel and I oftentimes discuss new programming and new opportunities for Chinese students to come and study with us, we do believe that it is in our best interest and really points to the strengths of the research and the work that our faculty are doing if we look elsewhere. And naturally, we're seeing an increase in students coming from India. We're also seeing an increase in a surge of students studying in the United States from Turkey. And we would like to really explore opportunities in Japan. However, it's important for us to make sure that we are staying connected to the interests of the faculty members and where their research is taking them, because partnerships are often most organically grown, and students naturally gravitate toward the work that we're doing here on campus based on the relationships that our faculty are generating. It would do us no good on campus if CGE were to predetermine where we should be recruiting. But we do work closely with the International Admissions Office, which is housed in Enrollment Management Services here on our campus, and we meet with them regularly to discuss what that strategy should look like for the undergraduate students. Additionally, we integrate and interface with the graduate school frequently to think about what strategies look like. How do we increase the availability of funding for international graduate students? And what are specific needs that we need to be addressing that makes the University of Tennessee a more welcoming place for them to come and pursue their academic journey?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. We do have another question here, and it kind of piggybacks off of that a little bit, but what programs and degrees at UT are the most enticing to international students? On a similar note, are there programs that we do not offer at UT that students often seek?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I would say that we're still seeing, and this is not just here at the University of Tennessee, but it's across the board nationally at other American institutions, that the STEM fields are still predominantly sought by international students. We see in still seeing increase in enrollments in computer science, engineering fields, and some business fields. But I also think that it's important for us to work across with our humanities faculty, social science faculty, and really begin to look at what are important programs, particularly in countries that are working to develop their own nations. Where can we welcome students to our campus that can study in these fields that would then enable them to go home and create a different environment, one that might be able to better connect with its world partners and join the global stage, both from a standpoint of economy, but also around peace and stability, which we need in all corners of the earth. So I would say that in response to the question about what don't we have, I think that we have lots of opportunity to consider allied health fields and welcoming international students and making the curriculum one that becomes relevant for the programs and the policies that are in place in different countries, which I understand is a very challenging thing to do from a US perspective. But I do think that there is a world of opportunity in terms of creating those programs for students to come and study in the different health fields. And that would be something that we would want to be thinking about.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. We still have some questions rolling in, so we'll just keep going here. We got some time. So, what are some of the things that we can promote in the classrooms that will have true impact on your work?
Oh, wow, these are really great questions. I wish I was sitting across from all of you with a cup of coffee in my hand instead of here in this virtual environment. So I really think that there are many things that we would like to consider with our faculty about what can be coming into the classroom. I think that oftentimes we undervalue the partnership that you might have had for the last 20 years of your career with a faculty member at an institution in Vienna or in some other part of the world, and what kind of cultural differences can they bring into your discussions and into the curriculum that you're presenting to your students. I think also thinking through when you're preparing courses and the actual content that you're presenting, how are you presenting that in a way that utilizes global examples and really allows students to have some case study experience that allows them to become immersed in cultural challenges and cultural dynamics that are oftentimes things that trip us up when we're trying to work across, geographical boundaries. And additionally, I cannot underestimate the power of students working together with other students in other places and the learning that they bring to each other. And now that we're learning how to seamlessly bring in more technology into our classrooms, I really would encourage us to continue to have this sort of what I would call a hybrid approach, where we're able to connect globally with other classrooms and other organizations so that we can change the way we bring the content to life and what students have, and encourage them to continue those connections outside of your classroom. As we all learned, we built networks and we met people when we were on campus, but none of us really seemed to understand the significance of those networks that we were building until we were much further in our career. And then one day you realize that person that I spent so much time with in the library really has something to contribute to me now professionally. And so I think we need to offer that opportunity for our students to learn that earlier in their academic careers so that they take the care and cultivation they need to be really building those networks and figuring out how to leverage them. And I would hope that those networks are every bit as global as they are domestic in terms of Who do I call upon? Who's my expert, and who do I go to when I need help?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We do have 3 questions left, so I want to make sure we get a chance to answer all of those. So just to kind of preface with that, and if we do miss your question, as the contact information is on the screen, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact the office if you have any additional questions. So moving on, as we look to grow our global research program, are there organizations with whom we should form strategic partnerships to optimize that success?
Yes, absolutely. So this is just Gretchen Neisler talking. Rachel might have a different opinion, and certainly others on campus might hold different opinions. My thought is that we need to be diversifying the portfolio of where we're looking for the funding of our research and the partnerships that we're growing. So historically, U.S. higher education has been very dependent on U.S. federal agencies for the funding of our work. And I would really encourage all of us in the global space to think about that in a much more diverse perspective, leaning heavily on getting to understand and building connections into foundations, and also really enhancing the private sector, and what can they bring to us, and how do we collaborate with them, to get out into the world and work with our partners to realize some solutions to the challenges that face us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Next question here. International internships and service learning for our UT students to experience tend to be very expensive. Many students have lost their jobs and savings to be able to participate. Scholarships are not often enough help. Is there a consideration to perhaps waive the 3-credit fee for these types of courses that are not inside a classroom?
Mm.
Any other initiatives to help our students have these experiences abroad?
Yeah, so I can't speak with any definitive statement about the ability to waive those fees, because oftentimes the connection is within the college and the department that would be hosting and working with those students. However, I would say this, that we are seeing enormous impact and a positive impact in growth of virtual international internships. And we are hearing from employers that they too are seeing that this has a positive impact on their work. And they feel confident that in providing those opportunities to students, that they are gaining some transformational knowledge and skills, which of course is not the same as if I were to travel to Rome and spend my summer working for a company. However, it does allow us to present a different opportunity to students, and one that is more cost effective for some students. And it also enables them to then have perhaps more than one internship experience. But we will continue to innovate both with the faculty and to pay attention to what our peers are doing, and to begin to scour what's happening with different organizations to figure out how to be innovative, to be more cost effective for students, and to be able to bring them a diverse array of different opportunities, both from an internship perspective, but also other academic programs that they would find useful.
Absolutely, thank you. And that brings us to our last question. When comparing to other peer institutions, UT has a relatively small number of international students. In your opinion, what might be some reasons for that?
So I think there's a myriad of reasons for that. I believe that our numbers have nothing to do with the rigor or stature of our programs. I believe that students want to study with us. I believe that a lot of this comes down to what I talked about in previous slides, and that is, how do we tell our story? Where are we showing up to tell that story? Have we created an infrastructure that is relatively easy for students who want to come and study with us, and for faculty who will no doubt end up guiding them, advising them, mentoring them? Have we made it easy for them to engage with the students? And I would say on that front, we have some work to do. And we are now identifying what those bottlenecks are, where are the challenges, what are the pressure points, and we're working to make those things easier, more seamless. And that is going to be a collective effort. CGE will certainly be happy to take the lead in determining what are those pain points, and then work through them so that we can figure out a seamless infrastructure that makes it easier for students to come and study with us. I also think that we have to start talking about the campus culture and welcoming students and being prepared to welcome students, preparing our domestic students to engage and interact with the international students is important, because all students that come to us deserve the same high caliber volunteer experience. And that should not be challenged. It should not be look any different for any of our students. And that's something that we have to work together concertedly to make sure that it is occurring.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for answering those questions. Again, if you have more, the contact information for CGE is on the screen right now. However, I am going to ask Dr. Neisler to go ahead and progress through those slides as we get to just some more information for you all about some upcoming events that we do have. We have an upcoming Checkerboard chat that will be happening on February the 9th. This will be about COVID-19 and employee mental health in the workplace. We have some experts joining us, as well as some alums that will be on that call. So we encourage you to jump onto our website and register for that upcoming Checkerboard chat happening on February the 9th. Just once again, I would like to offer our sincerest thanks to Dr. Neisler and Dr. Ray for joining us today. Thank you both so much for sharing your expertise with us. You are so crucial to the mission of our university, and we could not do any of this without your help. So thank you both so much for giving us your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Everybody else, we will be sending out a survey as well as a recording of this presentation. If you would like to participate, we would greatly appreciate that as well. We hope you all have a great afternoon, and as always, go Vols.